Hi there, welcome to this week's Inside Track. Jim and I will be looking at the Derby and the Oaks over the weekend. But Jim, going back to last weekend, brilliant stuff. You tipped up a 14 to 1 winner, went off 11 to 2. Balmoral Lady ended up having, was it four winners over the 2 days? It was great stuff.
Yeah, we were delighted with that. Robert Balmoral Lady was a big price when we were chatting last week, and we managed, a few of us, I'm sure, managed to get on. I managed to get 14-12. Now, once I realised I wasn't on my Onio with that one, I managed to get in again at eights, and delighted with the ride Paul Mulrennan gave it. We also tipped Scenic, ended up napping Scenic in the Scottish Sun on Saturday, and Safi Osborne gave that one a great ride. But I think the one that we were both so keen on, and you in particular, that's the one that really impressed us last weekend. He's Strange. She couldn't have won any easier, could she?
Oh, she was absolutely fantastic. I mean, she's as short as 16 to 1 now for the Arc. I mean, I don't think that's the worst bet in the world, considering that Longchamp
No,
can get her ground as well, possibly. I
yeah,
mean, it's not too unusual you get soft ground there in October. So, I mean, when you look at the record of fillies in the Arc, five winners in the last 10 years, 10 winners since
yeah.
2011. That £3 allowance that they get in that race is huge. I mean, would she be one you'd be interested in come October?
Without a doubt, I'd just like to see her progress. I mean, that was a fantastically impressive performance. But remember, she disappointed once last year. I think they said the ground was maybe a wee bit too quick for her. So she is ground dependent. I don't think we have to debate that. She is ground dependent, but when she gets her ground, she is a flying machine. And I think they're quite right to be talking about the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Obviously, she's owned by one of the biggest studs in the country. So it's a massive thing for them. As it was with that Sir Mark Prescott thing that won the Arc a couple of years ago. The owner of that one was a huge breeder. So if they can go and win an Arc, my goodness, how much is she worth? Not that they'd be selling because they'd just be looking to breed from her and make a few quid. But yeah, 16 to 1 at the moment. I'm not on, but I'll be keeping tabs on it, Robert.
Well, it's the fillies that's going to be in action at Epsom tomorrow. We've got the Oaks or Desert Flower, the Thousand Guineas winner's going to go off a fairly short price favourite. Have to see whether she stays. That's a big unknown, stepping up to a mile and a half. I mean, have you had a good look at the race, Jim? And what have you dug out?
Yeah, very good look at the race. And Desert Flower, there's no doubt how impressive she was winning the 1,000 guineas. The question mark is over the mile and a half, but I don't think they're too bothered with that. I think the owners and trainer seem to be quite happy that she is going to stay. So good luck with that. I just think Mini Hawk, the one which Ryan Moore has come down on the side of for Aidan O'Brien, in terms of staying, she's going to stay further than a mile and a half without a doubt. She was quite impressive for me at Chester. I thought that this race would suit her better, actually. I think sweeping down that hill and coming around the bend and then a good long run up the straight is going to suit her, whereby we'll be looking at Desert Flower and wondering how long that William Buke's going to hold on to her to make sure she gets the mile and a half. I think Ryan Moore could kick for home 2 furlongs out here, and it'll be catch me if you can. So I'm very much on the side of Mini Hawk. The other one I just mentioned in the inside track column in the Scottish Sun on Thursday, just have a look at each way, Robert, was Killing Queen, trained by Ed Walker. He's got Tom Marquand in it. Obviously, we don't need to debate how good Ed Walker's form is. He did so many good turns last weekend and did a lot of punters good turns. But Killing Queen, I think she'll stay as well. I'm not sure she's classy enough to win in Oaks, but because there's doubts about one or two here, I think that they might ride her for a place. And at the prices, I think each way, Killing Queen might sneak into place. If you were getting 16, 20 to 1, you'd be very happy with that. But the one for me is Mini Hawk.
Well, the one I'm looking at is probably for place purposes is Joseph O'Brien's We Might Take the Long Way, which
Yeah,
has got form tied in with Mini Hawk. It beat Mini Hawk at Cork as a 2-year-old last year. This one ran in the Ballysacks and it's come back, finished fifth behind Delacroix, who has been
yeah.
Derby favourite this week. It might flip-flop a little bit with the Godolphin horse, but we'll come to that later. Came out and won a Group 3 at Navan next time out. I think it'll be right up there with the pace, so I think 18 to 1 each way, or maybe I might just have a place bet. I'm not sure yet, but certainly that's of interest to me at a big price. But we start off tomorrow with the Surrey Stakes, Jim. Have you had a look at anything in that?
Yeah, I know you've got one for this one, Robert, but I fancy one that's first time out. So you are taking a chance here on fitness, but Adrian Keatley's horses are in really good form. I don't think fitness will be a problem. If you're going for a listed race at Epsom on Oaks Day, first time out, I don't think you go there half cocked. And the horse in question is Francisco's Peace, 3-year-old. Again, he's managed to book Tom Marquand for this. I think that's a good move. The horse has got very good form in listed races. This is listed class on Saturday. I spoke to Adrian about this horse at Ayr one day, and I think they rate it a lot higher than it actually showed last year. So the form last year wasn't too bad at all. So if they think that's going to be even better, I think it's hugely significant. They're going to Epsom on Oaks Day to get the horse started off. 7 furlongs listed. I think he's in the right grade. No penalties. Francisco's Piece is the one for me in the opener. But what do you fancy?
I like Diego Ventura in this, who won at Longchamp last time out. But it's
Yeah,
the race from Newmarket I'm really interested in because the winner of that Cosmic Year has come out and been second in the Irish Guineas behind Field of
yeah,
Gold. Symbol of Honour was 2 lengths back that day. We know what that one's done. That came out, won twice, won at Haydock most recently. So I think Diego Ventura, who was placed that day, it's obviously kicked on to win at Longchamp the last time. I think there's more to come for this horse. And at 5-2, I think that's a decent bet in the Surrey Stakes. Then we move on to the Coronation Cup, Jim, where Calandigan is going to be odds-on favourite. Deservedly so. And can you dig out anything else against it?
yeah. Deservedly so, and rightly so. And no, I'm not going to oppose it. I think Calandican, as long as nothing goes wrong in the race or it stalls or anything, it should be a straightforward task. And we might be sitting here at what time? 3 o'clock on Friday, thinking, my goodness, 4-6 was a good bet. So if he's 4-6, 4-5, I think Calandigan is the one to be on in the Coronation Cup. I'm not even going to suggest anything else. They'll be playing for places behind him. So Calandigan for me, and I take it you're not going to oppose that one either.
No, I mean Jan Bruegel's run at the Curragh in April was just there was too much gone wrong there. He was
Yeah,
sweating, he was hanging, and it just there was too much to dislike about that. Now, I mean, if anybody's going to bring the horse back to its best, it's Aidan O'Brien, who's a master. But there
yeah.
was just too many red flags for me in that one. And that Givaletto, who's the next in on ratings, you have to go back 11 years for a horse older than five winning this race. So
Yeah.
I think there's negatives you can make of the rest of them. Calandigan, not my kind of price, so I won't be getting involved, but I'll sit and watch it and I would expect it to win, I would think.
Yeah, the only angle I thought of was a double with Calandigan going on to Mini Hawk, but I'll be singling Mini Hawk anyway, so that would just be a small bonus. So we'll see how that goes. You fancy one in the 3:15, the mile and a quarter handicap on Oaks Day, but I've given this race a blank.
Yeah, but it's just one for Richard Fahey. It's called A Curial Secret, which is a bit of a wild one, but I mean it was in behind Jan Bruegel before it turned into an upcase in Group 3 at the Curragh last summer when it was trained by Eddie O'Grady. Now, they took it to Deauville in October, it finished third, and they've put it away. And Fahy, I actually read an interview with Fahy after that, who said, look, this is going to be a real horse to follow next year. So, a bit like you, it's had a big break, but a bit like you, I think, why would you take it all the way down to Epsom
Exactly.
on Oaks Day if you're not going to have it pretty ripe to run? So, at 14-1, I thought a Curial Secret was interesting. The other one in that race I thought was interesting was Rathgar, who is off the same mark as when second over course and distance ahead of Stress Free back in April. Now Stress Free's won since and it's now
Yeah.
up to 102. So he's in here off a mark of 88. So he's been chapping at the door a bit with his mark's not gone up. He's been 88 for a wee while. So looks within his grasp to win a race like this. So at 12-1, I thought he might be worth following as well.
Well, that's interesting for that 3:15. The other race I'm interested in, I know you're going to oppose me here, but the 5:10, the closer on Oaks Day, 7 furlong handicap, and I'm quite keen on a course and distance winner. That was last time out. Misinformation, Andrew Balding, Oisin Murphy. I suspect after winning that race last time, they've had a wee look at the calendar and thought, oh, there's a 75 grand race over the same course and distance. We might just go and win that. And I think that Oisin Murphy's booking is probably going to be the most significant factor here because it is a tight handicap. So misinformation for me without being overconfident, but just hoping that it might be a reasonable price. What about you?
I like looking at the pace maps and Partisan Hero, which I know you shouldn't be backing horses that go up in the handicap for not winning. I know that's a no, but I mean he's went up £6 for finishing second a couple of times.
Yeah,
No claimer on this time either. But I looked at the pace map and there's absolutely no pace on his side. So
yeah.
I just wonder if he might get loose out in front and at 10-1, maybe nick a place or something. So Partisan Heroes of interest to me purely on the pace angle because I do think it's harsh that he's been hyped up for no winning the last couple of times.
Well, we've got two in that last race. Let's see how we get on. But we're going to get on to the Derby on Saturday. And just since you mentioned it, I am actually going to tip a horse which has gone up in the handicap without winning very, very shortly. It's called Existent, but we'll come to that after the Derby. But obviously, the big debate on Wednesday this week, because that was the day they did the declarations for the Derby, a day early, was which horse Ryan Moore was going to come down on the side of. Now, I had been hoping that he might ride the Lion in Winter, but as we discussed last week, all the indications in the markets were that he was going to ride Delacroix, and that's how it turned out. Even though they left it till the very last minute, they actually waited till after the draw before they put Ryan Moore on Delacroix. But I suspect that wasn't really significant, because I looked back and checked, and Aidan O'Brien does leave it to the last minute in most of these races in terms of jockey booking. So I think Ryan Moore was probably booked for this one last weekend. He won two trials at Leopardstown. One was the Ballysacks, of course. Interestingly, last time when he won his trial at Leopardstown, Moore wasn't on board. It was Wayne Lorden. And the reason for that, Robert, was that Moore was over in France riding, what was it? It wasn't Camille Pissarro. It was Henri Matisse to win the French 2,000 guineas. So that was obviously deemed more important than a Derby trial at Leopardstown, because he already knew how good Delacroix was, having ridden him last year. Second in the Futurity, beating a nose, and also had won his previous Derby trial this spring. I'm very much on the side of Ryan Moore's intuition here, because the fact that I thought the Lion in Winter might come on for the Dante makes me think that Moore doesn't think that's the case, and that he thinks Delacroix is the most viable option for him. So I'm very much on the side of Delacroix. It's interesting that Aidan O'Brien talked up Lambourn this week. He's been given the plum draw of the three. He's the mount of the second choice Ballydoyle jockey Wayne Lorden. And that means that Colin Keane rides the Lion in Winter. So in my book, Robert, I think they're rolling the dice with the Lion in Winter. He might come good. They might get lucky. They've done it before with second and third strings. They might get lucky on Saturday. But I think Moore's had a look at it and thought, Delacroix is my best chance of Derby winner number 5, and I'm going to side with the great man.
I mean, it's the biggest Derby with 19 runners, the biggest Derby field since 2003. The
Yeah,
Lion in Winter done 19 of 19. I mean, he's not going to win for there, is he? Even
you
even
wouldn't
if
have
he
thought
was
so.
in even if he was in flying form. I mean, the draw's been really interesting because Pride of Arras drawn 16. I mean,
Yeah,
there's never been a winner from 16 in the Derby. So I mean, that's one that really was hugely impressive when it won at York. It was, wasn't it?
yeah.
I mean, I actually got a friend who's back to the 50s and told me about it, and I completely forgot it. So I'm kicking myself. So I hope for him it can overcome
Yeah.
the box 16. But I think Lambourn is interesting out of stall 10. And the other one I'm
Yeah.
interested in, I mean, 10 of the last 13 winners have come from stall 7 to 12.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, I mean, I don't know how that will change or how that will be impacted by the 19 runners, because it is the biggest field we've had for a long time. But I just wonder if that brings Tornado Alert into it as well, because they've
Yeah.
talked him up as being nowhere near fit for his last run. So I just wonder, I have to say, Jim, it's a race beyond ruling court if he stays. I can't really make up my mind in this. I might play Tornado Alert and Lambourn at bigger prices, just simply because the draw seems to have been a negative for so many of the other ones. But Delacroix on the Ballysacks one, you look pretty solid there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm happy with Delacroix. That's my selection for the race. One I would throw into the mix is Midak, coming from France, supplemented on Monday, owned by the late Aga Khan, so the Exors of the late Aga Khan, and of course the race is named after the Aga Khan this year. So it might be a social runner, but I had a look at its 3 wins on video the other day, and it's certainly a progressive 3-year-old. So I wouldn't rule that out running into the first 4, but I'm not going to tip it. I'm just suggesting that it might run a big race. Delacroix for me, I thought it was worth just having a look back at Ryan Moore's record when it comes to picking Derby winners for Aidan O'Brien. He rode the winner in 2013. In 2017, he picked Cliffs of Moher, and O'Brien won it with Wings of Eagle, so he got that wrong. 2019, he picked Sir Dragonet, and O'Brien won it with Anthony Van Dyke. 2020, he picked Mogul, and O'Brien won it with Serpentine. But the last 2 years, he has got it right with City of Troy and that other one, Auguste Rodin. 23 and 24. So he's going for a hat trick. He's got it right the last 2 years. He seems to have got over getting it wrong. He got it wrong 3 years out of 4. So I'm hoping he's got it right this time. And given the fact that he's been getting it right on the O'Brien horses, Colts and fillies this spring, pretty much 99% so far, I'm pretty hopeful he's got it right this time.
Good man, thanks very much. And then we start off with the 1 o'clock on Saturday, which I like Sunfall in. I thought she was absolutely brilliant at Ascot. The way she just got her head down and battled to win that listed race last October. Now, the second, third, and fourth that day haven't run, so
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what the form of that is worth. She switched from Haggis to David O'Mara over the summer, which you wouldn't describe as an upgrade, but David O'Mara's a very, very good trainer. It's another Cheveley Park one. They had two in
Yeah.
the race. This is the one they've declared. So purely on her attitude, she got headed and she got her head back down and made sure she got up. I just loved her attitude that day. So she's of huge interest to me in the 1 o'clock. And then in the dash gym at 2:45, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm I'm going against that theory you mentioned earlier because I'm going to tip a horse called Existent for Stuart Williams, a great trainer of sprinters. It is a 7-year-old and it has been getting beat. It's lost its last 3. It ran at Epsom, it ran at Goodwood, it ran somewhere else. It ran at Windsor, so it's been beaten on its last 3. Finished second each time. It's actually £6 higher than it was for the first of those seconds, and that was over Saturday's course and distance at Epsom, but hugely unlucky that day. I mean, it really should have won a couple of lengths. So despite the fact that it's £6 higher than that last day at Epsom, I'm siding with Existent. I was expecting Duran Fentiman's son Warren to be in the saddle. He has been the last 3 starts, but he's been claimed for Vintage Clarets for his boss Richard Fahey. So Rose Dawes rides a very competent apprentice. She takes the £5 off, and I'm sticking with Existent. But I think you're going against me here.
Well, I'm going to go against you with Vintage Clarets
Yeah,
because I like the booking of Warren Fetterman for it. So Vintage Clarets is now down with the claim. He's 4 below his last one in Mark now. He's been
yeah,
starting to creep down in the handicap and was starting to look well handicapped again. So I just think they need to make a wee bit more of him. He's been held up at the back the last 3 runs. That might have been by design because they've got in here off a mark only. I think it's £1 higher than his last winning mark. So I think Vintage Clarets, with the help of Warren Fetterman's claim, I think he can be really competitive in the dash. But it's a fiendishly difficult race. I always find every
yeah.
year.
Very difficult. Just hope we both get a price that's worth taking. So we'll have a look at those prices Saturday morning. Fingers crossed for that. I know we're going to talk about Perth on Sunday, Robert, even though we don't know final fields. I just wanted to mention one at Musselburgh on Saturday before we move on very briefly. Having seen the decks, I don't think it's going to be a very good price, but I think it should win. Jabara, last year's winner of the Queen of Scots filly stakes over 7 furlongs at 310. But as I say, I suspect she's going to be very short, so we might be passing that one over.
Yeah, well, we've got the Gold Cup meeting at Perth on Sunday. We always like to throw a summer jumping meeting into this show as well. So we don't know the decks yet. Obviously, we're doing this on Thursday so we can fit the Oaks in. But the 2:47 2 mile handicap hurdle, away she goes as an intended runner. And we spoke about Spartan Warrior at Kelso a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
That won for us at 4-1. Spartan Warrior beat her by a length in the
yeah,
end. Just gobbled her up the hill at Kelso over 2 mile too. She steps back to 2 miles here. I'm actually amazed the handicapper left her alone after that because
yeah,
actually in my book she ran to a better rating or a higher level
yeah.
than she did when she won the previous time and went up £7. So I was expecting her to get £3 or something for that. Been left alone on a mark of 80. So Ed Austin will ride again, take £5 off. She's a kind of sharp, light filly, so I think Perth will be a track that suits her. So I would expect her to go close again off her mark that's still sitting the same as the last time when Spartan Warrior just beat her.
Yeah, I think fingers crossed for that one, Robert, because I know that the Robson horses are still in good form. Fingers crossed for that. You're absolutely right about the handicap mark. And Ed Austin, very good £5 claimer. So everything in our favour there. That's the novices handicap hurdle. In the handicap hurdle class 4 that follows that, Sean Bowen's been booked again for Just Dotty. I note for Mike Smith, the top weight there. I know that Lucinda Russell may run Bishop Hill, which comes back from 2.5 miles to 2 miles. That could be significant. I just think Bishop Hill needs another few pounds off its back. But Just Dotty, Sean Bowen rode it very well last time. He's on board again. I think that could win the handicap hurdle at 322. And before you talk about the Gold Cup, I thought I mentioned in the Silver Cup for another Sean Bowen mount, and that's for Ollie Murphy this time, Schmilson, which was a very good winner over the track last time on chasing debut. That was in a novice handicap chase, goes into open handicap company over the 2 miles on Sunday. So Schmilson for me to give Bowen a double after just Dotty. What about the Gold Cup then?
Well, hang in there was second last year to Staturio. It was Emma Lavelle's first ever run at the track. So I think if she brings this horse back up here for another go,
Yeah,
she's no messing about this time. I mean, he's only a pound higher than he ran in the race last year. He went up to actually after finishing second to Staturio at Perth. He won the Summer Cup at Exeter, went but Exeter, Uttoxeter even
yeah.
went up to 159. So he's come back down in the handicap again. He's only a pound higher than the last time. I think he'd be primed to go well. And I have to say, Staturio ran a great race at Perth in April as well,
Really did.
behind Coco Mademoiselle. So that one's only £2 higher than when it won it last year. So it wouldn't be the biggest shock if those two are fighting out to finish again in the Perth Gold Cup, would it?
Yeah, it would not be a shock at all. And I'm obviously, I get another bite at this because I'll have more about this in the diary column in the paper on Sunday, which incidentally we tipped up Camille Pissarro to win the French Derby as the headline bet last week at 7-2. But the one I'm looking for in the decks on Friday morning in this one, the Gold Cup, is Young Buster for Fergal O'Brien and Johnny Burke. He's up £4 for winning at Kempton last time. That's obviously right-handed as well. I think that this horse, even though he's 9, he's quite lightly raced. I think that he might have a decent chance on decent ground, maybe with a little bit of cut in it over 3 miles at Perth on Sunday. So Young Buster's the one I'm thinking about at the moment.
That's great, Jim. Thanks very much. Good luck with your bets this weekend, folks.
Good luck, everybody. Thanks, Robert.